the witch of Black Hollow, in a small village nestled deep within a dark forest. There were whispers about an old woman who lived in a house made of twisted trees and stones. She was known as the Jala, a witch who was said to possess powers beyond understanding. Her name was Agatha, and she lived alone, far away from the village, where no one dared to go. The villagers spoke in hushed tones, warning children never to venture near her house. They told tales of how Agatha could turn anyone into a stone statue or curse them with terrible nightmares that never stopped. Some said she could see into the future with her dark eyes and could make people disappear with just a flick of her finger. One stormy evening, a young girl named Clara, who had always been curious, decided to test the stories. She was tired of hearing the old people talk about the witch, and she wanted to see for herself if the tales were true. Despite the villagers' warnings, Clara set off into the forest that night. The wind howled as Clara made her way deeper into the trees. The moonlight barely pierced through the thick canopy above, and the forest felt colder than it had ever been before. Clara was brave, too brave. Some would say she marched on, convinced the stories were nothing more than superstition. Hours passed, and the forest grew darker and darker. Finally, Clara saw something ahead, something that looked like a house, but it was strange and unsettling. It was made of gnarled branches and black stones that seemed to move and whisper in the wind. The air around the house was thick with a smell of something rotten, and the ground beneath Clara's feet was covered in an unnatural mist. "Hello?" Clara called out, her voice shaking. There was no answer, just the eerie sound of wind whistling through the trees. But then she heard its soft creaking sound, like a door opening. Clara stepped forward, her heart racing, and found herself standing at the threshold of the witch's house. The door swung open by itself. Inside, the air was thick with the scent of herbs and burning candles. The walls were lined with strange bottles filled with glowing liquids and jars containing things Clara couldn't recognize. In the corner stood a tall, shadowy figure, an old woman with long, tangled black hair and eyes as dark as the night. Agatha, the witch, looked down at Clara with a cold smile. "I've been waiting for you, child," she said in a voice that sounded like the wind rustling through dead leaves. Clara froze, her heart pounding in her chest. "Why, you've been waiting for me," she stammered, but the words barely left her mouth before the witch spoke again. "Yes," Agatha hissed. "I see everything. I know everything. And you, little one, have wandered too far." Before Clara could react, the witch raised her hands, and the room seemed to grow colder. Shadows twisted around the walls, and Clara felt a cold grip on her heart. She tried to run, but the door slammed shut with a deafening bang. "You cannot leave," Agatha said, with a wicked smile. "You've entered my world now." Suddenly, the witch's eyes turned glowing black, and the air around Clara grew heavy. She felt her legs weaken as if the very ground was pulling her down. She fell to her knees, struggling to breathe. "Do you know what I do to children who wander into my domain?" Agatha cackled. "I take their souls. Okay. And you will never leave this forest again." Clara's vision blurred, and she felt herself slipping away into darkness. The witch's laugh echoed in her ears, as though it was coming from everywhere at once. But just before Clara passed out, she remembered the stories, the one thing that might save her. With all her strength, she reached into her pocket and pulled out a small silver locket that her mother had given her. It was said to protect against dark magic. She held it up to the witch, and the moment the locket touched the air, a bright light filled the room, pushing the shadows back. Agatha screamed, her dark form flickering like a dying flame. "No, you dare to use that against me," she hissed, but the light grew stronger, forcing her back into the shadows. With a final scream, the witch vanished into the darkness, leaving Clara alone in the now silent house. The room, once filled with shadows, was now empty, save for the soft glow of the locket in Clara's hand. She didn't wait to see if the witch would return. Clara ran as fast as she could, her heart pounding in her chest. The house faded into the fog behind her, and the forest seemed less menacing. She didn't stop running until she finally reached the village, her breath ragged and her body trembling. Clara never spoke of what happened that night, but the villagers noticed something different about her. Her eyes held a new kind of wisdom, and she never ventured near the forest again. As for Agatha, the witch of Black Hollow, her name became just another story told by the firelight. A warning to anyone who dared to wander too close to the dark places in the world. And they say, on stormy nights, if you listen carefully, you can still hear the witch's laughter echoing through the trees.